bully that is totally out of control.
Touch your apple. Give it.
And no friends at school.
Oh, you stop it.
Can there be a future? Well, meet Chrissy White.
A movie that addresses bullying. That's up next on Carib Nation as I talk with the filmmaker David Weeks from Barbados. Hello, welcome to Carib Nation. I'm Darius Dean. Today my guest is David Weeks. He's a filmmaker from Barbados, and he's taken on the daunting issue of bullying by producing a movie called Chrissy that deals with bullying. And we're going to see a little bit of what Chrissy is all about in this upcoming trailer.
If at 10 years old, you were so poor that everyone rejected you.
Chrissy, go to your seat at the back of the class, please.
Did I not tell you I don't want to see you back in this office?
Carry those things and put them right back. You know what they tell you?
Don't play with her.
With the pressure at home of an ailing mom.
I want all of you to my house today.
A bully that is totally out of control.
Touch your apple. Give it.
And no friends at school.
Oh, you stop it.
Can there be a future? Well, meet Chrissy White. A courageous little girl who will not take no for an answer.
Transparent objects allow all of the light to pass through it, but translucent objects only allow some of the light to pass through.
Correct.
Yes!
Chrissy is really very good, and she deserves a chance.
Exactly which Chrissy are we speaking to?
Through determination,
Father.
inspiration, and faith, Chrissy is determined to push past every obstacle and run all the way into her life of purpose and destiny.
I'm gonna call the school and make sure you never teach anywhere again. Shut up!
Chrissy, a movie for the entire family, coming to a cinema near you.
Welcome back to Carib Nation. As I said, my guest is Mr. David Weeks, who's from Barbados, a filmmaker, and you've undertaken quite a daunting task to deal with the issue of bullying. And I'd like to ask you first, welcome to Carib Nation.
Thank you very much.
And I'd like to ask you what caused you to want to undertake this?
Okay, first let me thank you very much first for having me on your program. Thanks to Carib Nation for having us. And bullying, as you know, is a universal topic. Mm-hmm. However, I must confess that in making the movie Chrissy, that was not foremost on our minds. Mm. What we do at step-by-step production is we make movies. Chrissy would be the number 4 movie in the series that we've done. We had 3 other movies, a Hush series, and each of them dealt with a specific issue in society. And in doing Chrissy, my wife, by the way, is the writer and the producer of the movie and of the series.
Keep it in the family.
Yeah, well, I guess
That's
so.
That's always the best way to do it.
Yes. So in writing Chrissy, she would have been dealing with issues that we would have seen in our school. We run a dance school called Praise Academy of Dance in Barbados, where we have children from the age of 3 all the way to adult. So we interact with youth, a wide range of youth. So these are things that she would have seen in our practice at the school. In addition to that too, some of Chrissy is some of her own story growing up. She's Jamaican, born in Jamaica, so she would have experienced some forms of bullying as a child growing up.
That's what I was going to ask, whether you knew somebody directly,
Yes.
whether you had been
So some of it is stuff that we see going on around us in a society, and some of it is a touch of her own personal story.
Undertaking the production of a movie, I know, is not an easy task.
No, it's not.
We just do a little television program, and it's hard enough.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about what steps you have to do to get started. Where does one start when you have an issue as big as this that you want to address? You want to impact society. Where does one start? What are the steps that one must put in place? And what does it take from you?
Okay. All right. The first thing is to have a passion for what you want to tell. So for us, in our case, we deal with youth quite a bit. And we see their issues. We see their plight. We understand that society today is tough on youth. Yeah. There's so many things coming at them, and there are not a lot of support systems in place. A lot of the traditional support systems are failing even the youth. And therefore, we have a compassionate heart toward the youth, towards helping them and finding solutions that they can bite into, that they can grapple with and they can take on. And at the school, what we do a lot of dramas. We do a lot of, in addition to dance, we do musicals. So we would do different productions on stage. And the whole movie making aspect came out of a conference that we had. It was a dance conference. But my wife, she added on a movie training component. And we invited a lady called Cassandra Hollis from America. She's from Atlanta, I think she is from. And she came and did one workshop. And coming out of that workshop, the students, they put together a short. It was supposed to be 30 minutes.
Wow. And
that is the result of the movie Hashwan. And we said, well, let's see if the cinema will show it. And lo and behold, they said yes.
They did.
They accepted it, and it was supposed to be shown for a few days. It showed for 5 weeks.
Really?
Barbadians came out in their numbers to see it. And the reason why I think they came out is for a number of reasons. One, they saw themselves on the screen, on the big screen for the first time. Then it dealt with an issue that they could understand. It dealt with teenage pregnancy. And the way we did it was one, entertaining as well as educational. So that's how our focus, to entertain and to educate. Now, how do you go about doing this? It's a step of faith. Let me say that. In other words, at the onset, you don't know that it's going to be a success. You don't know. But what you do is you do the first thing, and that is you pull together your resources. So for example, you have a script. Now, she would have written the script. So let's say you have a script. So you have something, you have other people review it. You have other people read it and see if they like it. Now, if they like it, chances are the wider population is going to like it. And once you have your script, then you go about trying to find the resources that you need to put this thing together to make a movie. Now, budget always factors in. How much money do you have? Now, in our case, we didn't have any money. So because it was a novelty, a new thing in Barbados, we were able to get a camera crew, lighting. These were donated initially. There's a wonderful studio in Barbados called Mervyn Lynch Productions, and they donated this stuff to us.
Really?
Yeah, and we were able to put Hush One together. And when everyone saw the results of it, it created a synergy. And the population, they enjoyed it, they liked it. They asked us to extend it. It was too short.
Really?
So we did go and extend Hush One. So it's now a full 90 minutes.
Wow.
A full-length movie now.
Excellent.
And the call was there for that. So it's a matter of taking one step at a time.
I guess timing too.
Timing, yes. There is now a synergy in the Caribbean for movies. And you see Jamaica's producing movies,
Yeah.
Bahamas, Antigua is doing movies. So there's a synergy going on in the Caribbean for movie making. And there's so many stories to tell. There are lots of stories.
I just did a program with the pioneers or the architects of something called SOCA, Services of the Caribbean.
Okay.
And they are focusing on how much we have taken for granted in the Caribbean.
Yes.
There's services that we can offer and really develop a trade with the United States, our biggest neighbor.
Right.
And so this is obviously something that will evolve over time.
Yes.
But I wondered, why would you think of, I know that you said the movie came out of the workshop that you were doing. Tell me a little bit about your background and why did you think a movie would do it?
I can't say that we thought a movie would do it. What we did is we set out to produce a movie that dealt with an issue and do it the best way we can. We did it, put together what resources we had. We tried to go to the business community for funding. We went to the government for funding.
Let's talk about funding.
We get there. But we did what we could, and we were able to pull it off. From there, what I would say is that because of the hunger in the Caribbean, for us as black people to see ourselves on the screen, there was a tremendous support from the populace in Barbados. And that was the momentum that took us from Hush 1 to Hush 2 to Hush 3 and now to Chrissy. There is a momentum when you can have a cinema packed out and people lined off to see a local film.
That is an achievement.
Yes, there's a tremendous encouragement that we can do it. And we did it. This is our 4th time. For each of our movies, the cinemas have been full.
Really?
The latest one, Chrissy, that showed in the Olympus Cinema in Barbados for 3 months, non-stop.
My goodness,
yes,
that is
people
phenomenal.
just kept coming and coming and coming.
So, is Barbados, or is bullying really that widespread and dangerous in Barbados? We have, in America, we have almost every day somebody committing suicide, or somebody committing suicide in addition to a bunch of other people because of bullying. How bad is it in Barbados, and what is society saying about it, and what are they thinking they can do about it?
It's a big topic in Barbados, and it was catapulted to the forefront when a child died. He was being bullied, and he got struck by a car and died at one of our schools. And I think that crystallized the whole concept of bullying. Plus, we would have been hearing about it from the wider community, the international community. But when that happened, and we learned how it happened,
it really clicked
Barbadians,
home.
yes.
Yeah.
So it has been a topic not before that time, but it really crystallized with that incident. And it's a topic that the government is working on, the different social agencies are working with. So it was a timely movie, I would say. And I will stress again that we didn't make the movie because bullying was in the air. We made the movie, actually it was only after the movie was made that someone commented that this is about bullying.
Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
Wow.
And then it clicked, it crystallized.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
and before you go on, when you watch the movie, what is phenomenal about it is that you're going to see different types of bullying. So there's not just student-on-student bullying.
Right.
I am not going to say anymore. There's other
you have
kinds
to watch
of bullying.
the movie to see,
yes,
but
yes,
of course.
Yes.
But it also reminds us of the fact that if your intent is divinely ordered and driven, that the results usually pay off.
That's a very interesting question. I would say yes.
That's because I get the feeling that is probably the mantra with which you probably live.
Yes, it is.
And that comes across as once the intent is valid and wholesome, the result.
Yes, that's so. And that's what's remarkable, and it surprises us every time. When we did Hush 2 deals with abuse. Parental abuse, different kinds of abuse. And when we did Hush 2, when we came up with Hush 2, abuse was a topic in society at the time. we were shocked. We were amazed. So as you said, we set about, our mandate is to find creative ways of providing solutions to the ills of society.
Issues, yeah.
And we found that film works because young people love to watch. They're on YouTube, they're on their smartphones, and they love to watch.
That's what I was just going to lead to, and that is that we are now in an instant
era,
yes, where everything must happen in my hand.
Yes.
I can watch this quickly.
Yes.
And so I suppose you will be moving to that level in terms of getting the
yes,
movies.
That's right.
In terms of the education system, how much impact do you think you can have, and how would you go about implementing that in the education system, and how widespread do you want to be able to interact with that sector?
Right. You're asking all the right questions. The reason I say that is the educational system is our door. For every movie, we are endorsed by the Ministry of Education. Barbados, Jamaica, Antigua, and we would have liked to be able to go across the entire region, the Caribbean region. But we always approach the Ministry of Education and ask their permission to allow the children to come to the cinema. So what happens in Barbados, Antigua, and Jamaica is that they bus the children to the cinema to watch the movie. So in Barbados, I would say 95% of the schools, secondary schools, depending on the nature of the movie, the others were PG-13. So only the secondary schools, and probably from third form up, were allowed to come to see that. But I would say probably, let's say 80% of the schools in Barbados, to be safe, would have come to see the Hush series, Hush 1, 2, and 3. And then at the Chrissy, that's a G-rated movie, so that included primary schools now. That's why it ran for so long, because the primary school is across the wider audience. So yes, we approach the educational system, and we try to work. Now Hush 2 is being used in the school system by the guidance counselors as a tool for interacting with their issues in the schools in Barbados, in Jamaica, and I believe in Antigua as well. In Jamaica, there is a school for pregnant girls in Jamaica.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
So I wish there was one in Barbados.
That, yes.
Right. And that should be, every Caribbean should have that. And they have adopted Hush 2 as their tool.
Excellent.
Because it deals with that.
Right.
Right. So yes, the educational system is where we go. And I would say too, for Chrissy, we showed Chrissy in a school in Brooklyn. PS 182, I think that's the name of the school. And the what do you call it? The head for that district, that school district, was there at the screening. And when he saw it, he said, "I want all the children in my district to see this movie." And after we left New York, went back to Barbados, they organized a screening at the Linden Cinema in Brooklyn. And they bused almost like 500 students to see the movie.
I gather you also had good reviews at Tribeca.
Yes,
Tribeca Film
Tribeca
Festival
was the highlight.
Phenomenal.
Oh boy.
Wow.
It wasn't a film festival, it was at Tribeca, which is a world-renowned cinema. And that's one of the things another thing we're trying to do, we're trying to lift the profile of the Caribbean. Okay, Barbados and the Caribbean. We could have gone to other premiere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. It was tremendously expensive, but it carried a profile that we wanted to lift Barbados and the Caribbean to another level. That's what we're doing.
At the right level.
At the right level.
As I was saying earlier, we are known to be an educated, sophisticated people who have a little bit of a savoir-faire, and we short sell ourselves so often.
Yes.
So I'm very glad to see that you're making the effort, costly as it is, to start at the right level and change that profile so that we're not at the bottom trying to creep up there.
Yes. And
because that's where we
Tribeca's
find ourselves so often.
They say to come back. If we have another one, they'll be gladly have us back. So that opens the door.
Of course,
for other Caribbean filmmakers,
right?
To go there and to go wherever they want to go. And what I'll say, when you watch the movies, we also have what I call a BTA component, Barbados Tourism Authority component,
and everything.
Right. So we show the beauty of Barbados, the beautiful hills. You can't say mountains. We don't have any mountains. The beautiful hills and the greenery, And the beautiful things about Barbados, that people in the world who do not know, besides the tourists who come, they have an idea that there's a beautiful country called Barbados.
That's what this program is about. That's what Carib Nation is about.
Yes.
It started with that focus. And let people know that we are a little bit more than simply calypso, sun, sea, and sand.
Yes.
There's a lot to offer throughout the entire Caribbean. So I'm very glad that that has also been your focus.
Yes, yes.
Before we close, I think we have about 5 or 6 more minutes. I do want to delve into funding because I think people need to understand when you stage something like this that you need their financial support.
Correct.
Because it is not easy to acquire the funds. And it's very easy for people to say you could get a sponsor and you can go talk to Coca-Cola. Do they have any idea what it means to get to talk to Coca-Cola? Talk us through the steps that one, and whatever was your hardest scenario to find funding.
Okay. Funding is, I don't want to say non-existent. That's too harsh. It's
in the
tiny.
minds of some of us, it's
tiny.
non-existent.
It's tiny. But let me say thanks to those who have sponsored us. One agency in Barbados, the BIDC, Barbados Industrial Development Corporation. It's an arm of government, and I really tip my hats to them because they haven't given us a whole lot of money. But what they've done is they've made the way for us to do something. They've given us, they facilitate our travels, and that is something. As far as producing the film is concerned, you have a few companies. Mervyn Lynch Productions, I would say that I would say the biggest sponsor. Let me say why. Not in dollars, equipment. Now the equipment that he's provided.
That's a huge,
yes.
Yeah.
When you translate that into cost to rent lighting, to rent cameras, to rent dollies, to rent jibs, to rent all that stuff.
That is phenomenal.
It's a huge amount.
It's a great,
so
sort
if
of
I
a
told you,
barter
if I
type
told you
of
the
thing.
budget for Hush 2 was say 100,000 Barbados dollars, another 100 or 150,000 should be added on for equipment.
For the equipment, oh yes.
Okay. Now, but to get to the 100,000 Barbados dollars, that is major dollars. I mean, the US, that's chump change. You know, $10 million movie. I mean, please. One guy can pull out of his back pocket, but for us, it is huge. So our means of funding our movies is box office. Remember, I told you that Barbadians support it. And this is why I want to tip my hats to Barbadians. I really want to applaud you, Barbadians, who've supported our movies. They come to the box office and they buy the DVDs. So we have pushed box office, so we'd have a huge marketing campaign.
I was just going to ask you, does that require a huge, expensive
funding
marketing
for
campaign?
marketing.
Yeah.
Right, so we focus on marketing the movie in Barbados. And then once people know, and keep it in the media, and the people come, and that helps us with we plow all those funds back into paying for the one and then plowing it into the next movie. And then the DVD sales. We appeal to the pirates. Please do not pirate the local movies.
Yes, I did a program several years ago on property rights in the Caribbean and the fact that it was a dismal issue in terms of protection of property rights. And I'm hoping that we can turn the corner in terms of protecting that in the Caribbean, because I think, especially now that if you're working towards exporting services, it really becomes a critical issue.
Yes.
And so that is something that I think we need to push as well.
Right.
But it also reminds us that we are in the backyard of what I consider the largest, most efficient marketing machine in North America, in the Western Hemisphere. And I am glad to see that we are learning, simply because I think half of our problem over the years in the Caribbean has been we didn't think it was necessary to market on a big scale.
Yes.
And I think we can learn from America that there's nothing better
than marketing.
If you can market
you can
anything.
Sell anything.
Anything in this country can be marketed.
Exactly.
And so I think I'm glad to see that is something. Now, that takes me then to the rest of the Caribbean. You said you've gone to Antigua and some others.
Jamaica.
How big is your marketing program across the Caribbean?
Not big. That was Barbados. So we did a fairly good marketing program in Barbados. It was homegrown, It was, I won't say easy, but easier than moving out of Barbados. So that's the next level we want to get to. And that's where we're going to need all the support we can get because the movie has value. We've proven it has value. Chrissy has toured. We first went to Canada, went Ottawa, Montreal, and Toronto. Then we did London and Birmingham.
And that was my next question. What is the response to the diaspora?
Fantastic.
Excellent.
Atlanta was phenomenal.
Excellent.
Some tremendous testimonials. The author, Eric Jerome Dickey, who's a New York Times best-selling author, he saw the movie when he was in Barbados, and he gave us a testimony. He loved it, and he's endorsed that movie.
And you've got some of the right names attached to you there.
That's what part of the marketing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's part of it. So we recognize the need to market. We recognize the need.
Well, I'm glad that you can get that message out too, because that is something I think the Caribbean needs to understand. That marketing is so vital.
Exactly.
That we have to really work on marketing.
Exactly. It's almost as important as the film itself.
Exactly, exactly. Because if you can't market it, it's dead in the water.
It's sitting in your back pocket.
Yeah, it is dead in the water.
Exactly.
So you're visiting Washington, touring Washington in the last couple of minutes. Tell me, what is your next step? And do you have any other issues you want to address?
The next step is we really want to get the movie into the world. So the movie is right now in Cuba being translated into Spanish.
Excellent.
And we want to put it in as many languages as we have the funding to do.
Phenomenal.
So we're starting with Spanish, and we are trusting that we can build up enough funding to do French and other languages. Wherever there is whether it's issue of bullying, wherever bullying is an issue, we want to be able to get the movie into those markets. And the other thing the other hurdle that we are facing is distribution. That's the other key area. Distribution. We need to have a good distribution engine, which we don't yet have, but we believe is going to come.
Well, they're telling me we're wrapped up in time.
Okay.
So. Thank you very much. My very best wishes to you on this movie. I really would love to see it really take off and go places. And I hope we can do our small part to get it out there.
Thank you very much.